An eerie obsession with serial killers has led to a massive influx of dark tourists who are morbidly obsessed with sites haunted by the memory of Jeffrey Dahmer. People are traveling from across the world to visit remote locations in Ohio and Wisconsin as they fixate on the disgusting acts of Dahmer, who murdered over a dozen men and boys between 1978 and 1991. The Netflix series Dark Tourist helped to popularize the term for a growing population of people who spend their free time traveling to strange and unnerving sites. The show describes dark tourism as a global phenomenon where people choose to vacation in places associated with death and destruction. A recent obsession among dark tourists and true crime fanatics alike is the life of notorious serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. For nearly a decade, Dahmer lured men and boys into his home, where he killed them and dismembered their bodies. In one haunting interview, he even made the chilling admission that he was trying to create living zombies that could keep him company, but it never worked. While merely reading about the horror tale is enough to make most people sick to their stomach, some eerily obsessed folks have decided to look evil in the face and actually make a pilgrimage to sites associated with the killer. I think that at a very primal level, there is this fascination with death. Bob Weiss, owner of Shaker's Cigar Bar in Milwaukee, exclusively told the U.S. Sun. Dahmer visited the bar while he lived in the city, and Weiss has found that there is a huge demand for any experience related to the serial killer. People are really interested in the psychology of things. They really want to know what makes them tick, he said. The more distasteful, the uglier, the more people flock towards it. Along with Shakers, Weiss owns a business called Hangman Tours, which gives tourists a glimpse into what it calls the ghosts, cannibals, and hookers that have walked the streets of Milwaukee. One of their most notable tours is the Cream City Cannibal, which was featured on Dark Tourist, as it follows exactly where Dahmer poached 7 of his 17 victims. The tour is a massive success, according to Weiss, enticing people to travel from Saudi Arabia, everywhere, in continental Europe, South America, and more. While the owner acknowledged that Dark Tourist really helped to boost their sales, he also has another theory as to why people are so stuck on Dahmer's story. Weiss theorized that the decay of society has had a major impact on the fixation with horrific true crime cases. He also believes the pandemic made people feel isolated and created a perfect environment to indulge in dark content. It's almost like if you're driving through the country and you see a lorry that's off the road, and you see that people are horrifically damaged, you stop and you look, Weiss said. Not that you can offer any assistance or anything, but it's almost like you're transfixed. You're drawn toward looking at that. I see people who are interested in serial killers and true crime much the same way. One self-proclaimed true crime junkie planning on making a Dahmer pilgrimage is Jake Fozak, aka Jake Exploring, on TikTok. Jake has amassed over 400,000 followers on the social media app by posting eerie videos about the serial killer, including one where he actually visited Dahmer's childhood home in Bath, Ohio. It gives you an entirely different understanding of what happened instead of just reading about it, Jake told the U.S. Sun. This Bath home is infamous for being the location where Dahmer killed and dismembered his first victim, 18-year-old hitchhiker Stephen Hicks, when he was 18 years old. Dahmer dissected Hicks' body in the basement of his family home before burying the remains in the garden. Several weeks later, he dug up the body and dissolved it in acid before crushing the bones with a sledgehammer and burying them once again in his backyard. It's actually a fairly nice area. The house is in a nice spot, Jake said. As a true crime fan, Jake said he was shocked to discover that the house, although it sports a fresh coat of paint, looks just as it did in old photos and films like My Friend Dahmer. The current owner of the home reportedly uses the room where Dahmer killed his first victim as an office, according to recent footage touring the home. "I hope that they've preserved some of it just so it's there," Jake said. "Because history does matter." Both Jake and Vice agreed that, while hauntingly perverse, the story of Dahmer is worth protecting. As the old adage says, history is bound to repeat itself. "We have nothing but respect and reverence for the victims," Vice said. "We really want to show an accurate picture. It's important that you understand history." Vice hopes that tourists from all over the world will stay vigilant after experiencing Dahmer's violent history. According to the businessman, no one is safe. "These lessons need to be learned again. We're demonstrating some of the things that Dahmer was able to get away with," Vice said. "He was a very convincing person, and he was obviously able to manipulate people.